Christmas time on New York's Fifth Avenue. The hustle and bustle of holiday shoppers, the many distinguished shops and department stores displaying their seasonal merchandise in stunning array, and the beautifully decorated trees in every window. Now you can have an expertly trimmed tree in your very own living room. Peter Clark, a professional decorator on Fifth Avenue for over 25 years, tells you how.
Hello, I'm Peter Clark. In this program, I'll be showing you step-by-step various ways of decorating your Christmas tree so that you can get professional-looking results in your own home. It's not difficult if you follow a few basic rules, and a beautifully decorated tree can be a great pleasure for you and your family, as well as an exciting centerpiece for your holiday entertaining. Take these trees, for example. These are 3 trees I'll be decorating here in the studio, though the techniques I'll be demonstrating can be used for any tree, regardless of the decorating scheme you choose to work with. As you can see, the tree on the left is done in a red and white theme. The one in the middle was designed to have a country look, while the one on the right is decorated with traditional glass ornaments. But before you can have a tree that looks like this, you have to start at the beginning. First, you have to choose a tree. Will it be live or artificial? That's a matter of personal taste, but I can offer some hints in selecting a tree once you've made that decision. When buying a live tree, the first consideration, of course, is the size and shape. The height of the tree depends on the size of your living room and your pocketbook. That resolved, consider the shape of the tree. Is it nice and full, without bare spots? If the tree has been tied during shipping, give it a good shake. The branches should fall gracefully into place. Look for a freshly cut tree. Are any of the needles turning brown? Are they dry and brittle? Again, give the tree a good shake. If it sheds needles, you don't want it. When you've selected a tree, have them slice about 1 inch off the end of the trunk, just as you would with cut flowers. When you get your tree home, immediately place it in a tree stand filled with water. Be sure to check the water level regularly and replenish it as needed. You may want to use one of the preservative solutions that are on the market to make your tree last longer. A good fresh tree should last about a month. Artificial trees, of course, require no maintenance, and that's a great advantage if you plan to spend some time away from home during the holidays. There are 2 basic styles which we have here in the studio. The panel tree has brush-like branches, which are attached to a center pole and held away from the pole by a notched metal hoop, which also keeps the branches evenly spaced. Top sections of artificial trees are usually in one piece. The tier tree, like this one, is a bit more lifelike and has branches with short needles that stick into a central pole like so. Once the tree is assembled, it needs to be properly shaped. With the panel tree, take the individual branches, pull them out, and bend them slightly at the tip. This will give the tree shape and hide any bare spots. With the tier tree, you should go for a more natural look, bending the small branches in different directions, although the main branches should curve up. When your tree is shaped, you're ready to begin decorating. First, the lights. I recommend using miniature light sets. Since the objective in lighting a tree is to show the lights while hiding the wires, you should use lights with a green wire on a green tree and white wire on a white tree. Run an extension cord up under the center of the tree, attaching it to the pole about halfway up. We'll do a panel tree first, using clear lights. Before we begin, though, I'll show you the technique we use to light on a couple of random branches, sort of a rehearsal before we actually light the tree. Always work with the lights plugged in. It's easier to see what you're doing, and you can tell if you have any burnt-out bulbs in the set. The wire is wrapped around each individual branch, starting from the base of the branch and working up to the tip, so that there are several on each branch, with one near the tip. When you reach the end of the branch, tuck the wire under and go to the base of the next branch. We'll show you a few more times in close-up. Wrap, tuck under, and so on, working your way gradually around the tree, one level of branches at a time. Keep rehearsing until you get the hang of it, until you can see the lights and not the wire. Plug in the first string of lights, starting at the top of the tree with the bulb furthest from the plug end, wrap around the tree, as I showed you earlier, until the string is used up. With the second string of lights, as with all the rest, start with the bulb closest to the plug end and continue lighting where you left off, working your way around the tree. Just keep going along in this way until layer by layer the entire tree is lit. The same method is employed on the tier, only this time I used multicolored lights. And on the live tree, also in clear lights. Now I'll show you how to add a little variation on the panel tree with the clear lights. Since I'll be decorating with a red and white theme, I'll weave a couple of strings of red lights in with the clear so that the tree will be speckled with red. Don't overdo it. Just a few red lights sparsely and evenly distributed on the tree will provide a striking bit of contrast. Now our trees are lit. The next step is garlanding. To go with a red and white theme, I've chosen a white frost garland. Starting with the bottom row, find a branch approximately in the center of one of the panels. Pull it out slightly so that it is prominent. This is what we call a peak. Drape one end of the garland over this peak, move along to the next peak on that level, and drape the garland over that, letting a generous swag of garland fall gracefully between the two peaks. Continue along in this fashion until you've come around to your first peak. Break off any excess garland and move up to the next row. This also may take a bit of practice, but once you've acquired the knack, you'll be able to move along quickly. Continue working your way up the tree, one row at a time, making sure that the rows of garland are evenly spaced. In keeping with the red and white theme, I've put a red fabric bow at each peak, fastening it on with wire. Use the thin green wire that is sold for making floral arrangements. It's available at craft stores or at florist shops, and is preferable to ordinary wire because it won't show on the tree. And here I've topped the tree off with a star of clear and red lights. Moving along to the tier tree, we have it a bit easier, since the tiered branches indicate where the rows of garland should be placed, and the main branches mark the peaks. I'm using silver garland on this tree. Work from bottom to top as with the panel tree. I plan to decorate this tree in a traditional glass theme, so I felt some multicolored bead chain would be a nice accompaniment to the silver garland and tie in nicely with the glass ornaments. Bead chain is just that, a long garland made of colored beads. I purposely skipped every other row with the silver garland, and I filled in by draping bead chain on those peaks. I've put a traditional glass top on this tree. Now, of course, this is the most basic way to drape garland on a tree, but I'll show you a few variations as well in case you're feeling confident enough to experiment a bit. Here we have a diagonal drape that goes around the tree in a sort of corkscrew design. Here we've done a zigzag design down the sides of the tree from top to bottom. Here we've alternated peaks with two strands of garland, just as we did with the silver garland and the bead chain. Here we've done a crisscross effect, mixing the basic drape with a vertical drape. These are just a few of the various effects you can achieve by experimenting with the drape of the garland. If you use your imagination, I'm sure you can come up with many more variations. And of course, you're not limited to using packaged garland. These designs can be employed when using popcorn and cranberry garland or construction paper garland as well. Now, I decided to decorate the live tree with old-fashioned wood and fabric ornaments. So I thought it might be nice to use ribbon as garland on this tree to give it a bit of a country look. Many craft supply houses sell rolls of ribbon, and it is also readily available in most Plymouth tree departments at Christmas time. The principle is the same as with the tinsel garland, except that you must secure each peak with a small piece of wire so that it stays put. Drape the garland from peak to peak, as with the tinsel garland, giving it a few twists between each peak to give it a more interesting look. Finish off each peak with a small bow made from the same ribbon. These can be bought ready-made. Then top the tree off with a large matching bow. There. Now all 3 trees have their garland and are ready for ornaments. This is the easy part. There are only a couple of basic rules. Larger ornaments should be hung at the peaks, with smaller ornaments used to fill in. Also, larger ornaments should be hung lower on the tree, decreasing in size as you work up the tree, with the smallest ornaments near the top. This will result in a more properly balanced look. On the red and white tree, I start by clustering 1 red and 1 white satin ball by hooking them together like so, and hanging the clusters at the peaks. You see, you don't have to hang Christmas balls individually. Hanging them in clusters of 2, 3, or even more can produce very interesting effects. Experiment with different sizes and colors of ornaments to see what combinations work on your tree. I've filled in with various kinds of red and white novelty ornaments, hanging the larger ones near the bottom and working up the tree as the ornaments decrease in size. Another tip is to hang single balls in near the base of the branches so that they reflect the light and add depth to the tree. I've used the same basic principle to hang the traditional glass ornaments on the tier tree, larger ones at the peaks and near the bottom, decreasing in size as we work up the tree, and making sure to hang some ornaments in near the center of the tree to reflect the lights. The same goes for the old-fashioned ornaments on our country tree. For this tree, however, I filled it out a bit with some dried flowers. White baby's breath in this case, though you could use any type you think will complement your color scheme. Dried flowers are easily obtainable at most garden centers and craft shops. Here we finished off each tree with a coordinated tree skirt. Let's quickly review the basic steps I've shown you up to this point. Be sure to select a full, freshly cut tree and water it regularly. Consider buying an artificial tree if your holiday plans include some time away from home. Be sure it's properly shaped before you begin lighting. Always work with the lights plugged in so you can see what you're doing. Wrap the lights around the branches in order to hide the wires. Begin lighting at the top, working your way down the tree 1 layer of branches at a time. Try weaving in a few sets of lights in a contrasting color, or maybe even some twinkling lights for a special effect. Drape garland from peak to peak, 1 layer of branches at a time. Work from bottom to top, making sure the rows of garland are evenly spaced. Think about using fabric bows in a contrasting color on the peaks, or alternating with strands of bead chain in a color that will complement your theme. Ribbon also makes a beautiful garland. Fasten the peaks with floral wire and finish them off with a matching bow. Experiment with the drape of your garland until you find a variation that pleases you and works with your decorating scheme. Hang larger ornaments lower on the tree and at the peaks. Smaller ornaments should be used to fill in, with the smallest ones near the top. Try clustering balls together for an interesting look, and be sure to hang ornaments in near the center of the tree to reflect the lights. Consider using dried or silk flowers in a coordinated color to give your tree a fuller look and a contrasting texture. Use a specially made skirt to hide the tree stand. And finish off your tree with a coordinated treetop. And there you have it. Our 3 trees are completely decorated. But wait, there's more. For the more adventurous among you, I'll take you on a little guided tour through a whole grove of handsomely decorated trees, pointing out the different ideas and techniques that went into the creation of each one. You may want to copy the designs as you see them, or simply use the ideas as a point of departure for creating your own original theme. The only limits to the variations that are possible are the materials you have available to you and your own imagination. Our first tree is decorated with a music theme. Instruments of brass and wood, sheet music, and fans are all incorporated into the red, white, and gold color scheme. The garland was made especially for this tree by twisting strands of red and gold bead chain together into a single rope. Red glass balls with a gold star pattern are used to fill in. Our next tree is done in a silver and ice theme. Wide silver ribbon resembling aluminum foil was draped on the tree in a corkscrew pattern. Ice blue silk flowers were used to fill in, along with small bouquets of pine cones, packages, and silver berries. And ornaments of frosted glass were chosen to complement the white frost balls at the peaks. The next two trees have a more sophisticated look, this one being a silver theme with pink highlights. Silver garland and bead chain icicles are accented with pink silk flowers, package clusters, mirrored ornaments, and silver novelty ornaments. The tree is topped with a large bouquet of pink roses. Here we have another designer look tree, this time in gold. White ribbon with a gold lace border was used as a garland, while candle novelty lights add a touch of old world charm to this tree. We've filled in with gold package ornaments, hearts, fans, snowflakes, and bead chain icicles. Silk flowers and gold berry picks complete the look. For the kids, we've done a teddy bear tree with white bears of all shapes and sizes. The garland is made of wooden beads in red, white, and green, and is woven throughout the tree in a topsy-turvy sort of design, with icicles, red berry picks, and novelty ornaments used to fill in. We've also included a tree designed especially for baby's first Christmas. The garland is holly print ribbon with a lace trim, cascading down the tree from the large matching bow at the top. Glass balls, novelty ornaments, and silk flowers are all used to give this tree a storybook look. Our next two trees are variations on a Victorian theme. This one incorporates flower garland, silk flower bouquets, beautiful glass ornaments, and delicately fashioned novelty ornaments in its design. Double strands of pearlized bead chain were draped from the peaks in long, low swags. Here we've used pink ribbon with a lace border as a garland. Alternating with twisted strands of silver and pink bead chain. Dolls, lace ornaments, and novelty ornaments of lavender and burgundy were all used to give this tree a Victorian fairy tale look. Coordinated silk flowers bring all of these elements together. Gold is the theme for our next two trees, though each has its own distinctive personality. The first incorporates white accents, birds, angels, and snowflakes, to offset the gold balls, flowers, picks, and novelties. We've used double swags of gold and white bead chain here. This tree is gold with copper highlights. The garland is made of gold and copper bead chain twisted together. And gold flowers and picks are accented with ceramic angels, copper-colored balls, and novelty picks. This tree is decorated in a more traditional theme. Hand-blown crystal ornaments are used here, along with a garland of clear glass beads. These are only a few of the themes that are possible. You might want to try doing a circus or clown theme, a tree of plush animals, dogs, cats, or birds, or else make your tree a showcase for a treasured collection or special interest. How about a doll tree, model cars and planes, or a sports theme? If your tastes are a bit more traditional, you might prefer a toy soldier theme with drums and bugles and maybe rocking horses too. It's all up to you. Well, that concludes our guided tour. I hope that inspired you to use your imagination and dream up a fantastic tree of your own. But however you choose to decorate your tree, I hope this program has helped to make it easier, faster, and most of all, more fun. Merry Christmas.